Good evening and welcome to the FiTT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FiTT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. So good to see you this wonderful day, Thomas Doty.
Good to see
How
you, my brother.
how's everything, my
Life
brother?
is good.
You
Life,
look very um, presentable, should I say? You look very. I was looking for another word, but that's the most I can do.
I'm afraid of what words you may find. So let's keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So, welcome everybody around the country and around the world. Yes, we reach across the waters to Great Britain and Amsterdam and even people in Australia. Just want to remind you that we are not qualified financial advisors, but we are financial educators providing you with information. So if you try to sue us, that will not help. Okay, we just gave a disclaimer, but no, we provide information, y'all. We do not try to uh, give you specific information because everybody's situation is different, and that's why we're financial educators and not investment advisors. We must click on the link on the like button, please, as many times as you can. That helps us get traction on Facebook and mainly on Facebook. And please make sure you go out there and share on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. The next thing is the comment box. That's a place where um, get twice the bang for our buck as you put information in there. If you have a comment, opinion, or a question, or a topic you'd like for us to actually check out on future shows, we will do that. We'll try to address as many of your comments as you have, but please use the comment box because that's the place that you'll be able to access us. And we like to make this interactive. We're in a virtual studio, but yet we could be inactive if you use that comment box. So please feel free to use that comment box. And I'd like to welcome everybody who's coming on board, especially the first three individuals who joined us. I love it so much. Got a lot of other people. We're up to over 500 people now, Dope, and that's following us, and I'm feeling very thankful for that. We're not selling any products, you all. We're just trying to provide information, news that you can use. So, with that, we usually start this show off with an update of the stock market, and the wonderful Thomas Doty is the one who usually leads us in that wonderful charge.
Yeah, it continues to be volatile. Whenever 47 says something, it typically has an effect on the stock market.
Sad to say, but true.
Yeah, I don't want to get off track. It's hard, Bob. It's hard.
We don't talk politics, religion, and sex on this show.
Okay.
Okay.
So it wasn't a bad week. You can see the S&P is up 100 points, a little over 1%. 100, and which is, it had been going, it had been a rough March. Most of March was bad. The NASDAQ is up a couple percent, 465 points. And the stocks I owned had some recovery. Microsoft's up 7, Apple 3, NVIDIA 6. And Google took a big jump up 13. Pfizer stayed flat. My Boston Scientific dropped 10%. Reason being, they had a presentation of one of their newest products, which is a medical device that's inserted in people who have atrial fibrillation, of which both Bob and I suffer with that, and a lot of people suffer with it. Some people who do probably don't even know they do, but it's when your heart goes out of rhythm. And so Boston Scientific makes something called the Watchman, which kind of goes inside and keeps from having a stroke. That's the big negative with having AFib, is since your heart's not pumping correctly, you're more susceptible to stroking because the blood's not flowing like it should. And this isn't a medical show, so I'm not going to get into that.
But it's good to know.
But they did a study of the Watchman, and all the results were good, except they had a slightly higher stroke rate, and I do mean very, very slightly higher than the two products that are used in most cases, which is Eliquis and Xarelto, which are blood thinners. But the Watchman didn't have the bleeding problems that the blood thinners have. Because you think about it, if your blood's thin, that's good. You're less susceptible to having a stroke. But it creates other issues if you get cut or if you're bleeding internally. If you're on a blood thinner, that can create problems. So everybody was upbeat about it, except the market took it as a negative. And the stock ended up dropping to its 52-week low of I think it got down to like 61 and some change, and it's come back a little bit. And I did a little more analysis on it, and I think I'm going to hold on for a while because again, one, it's at its low, it's at its 52-week low, and when you get behind the numbers and look at the results of their trial, the numbers are pretty good. The numbers are pretty good. So I'm going to hold in there. But that's one of my only stocks that was down for the week. And things continue to be shaky. I think the market reacted negatively to the fact that 47 mentioned that the war is going to go on for a couple of weeks. And if he says a couple of weeks, the only thing you know is that it's not going to be a couple of weeks, because he doesn't tell the truth a whole lot of the times. So we'll see what happens. But oil's back over 100. There's some talk about the Allies getting involved and opening up that strait over there, which will allow oil to get out right now. And it's only 20% of the oil that comes out of that strait. But with it being closed, that's having a very, very negative effect on gas prices. And I've been saying this for a while, there's just so many other things in the market that just are not good right now. It's been 1 year since he implemented his tariffs. And I'm surprised the inflation numbers aren't worse than they are. And the one thing, anytime you're talking about the market and Wall Street, the one thing the market appreciates is knowing what's going to happen. You know, in my prior life, when I worked as a controller for one of our businesses, it was very important to predict what your future earnings were going to be. So Wall Street had an idea of what you were going to do, how much money you were going to make. But with all these tariffs and the way they change from day to day, you know, you look at X, there's a new tariff. He just announced a 100% tariff on certain pharmaceutical companies. There's no way businesses can have any idea of what their costs are going to be. And it's creating havoc in the market. And it's been 1 year since we had that quote unquote Liberation Day. And the money collected hasn't dropped the deficit one bit because of, one, the war in Iran and all the money that went to the tax break. So it's not positive there. Manufacturing jobs have left the country because of tariffs, even though they were supposed to be generated. More manufacturing jobs were supposed to be generated. And so it's been chaos. And I just keep waiting to hear that inflation is a lot worse than people think it is. And I won't say I believe they're manipulating numbers, but tariffs are tax increases. There's no other way around that. And companies or countries aren't just going to absorb that additional cost. A lot of that cost is being passed on to consumers. And so it's going to create inflation. So I'm still not bullish on the market. I still think we're in for some more volatility. And by that, I mean, I think there's going to be more downward swings in the market. But again, that's just Thomas Doty's opinion, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was shocked though. The market's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because there was some thought that the war was coming to an end and oil would come back down and get back to normal. But that hasn't happened yet. And I still think we still don't know what AI is going to do to the market. And I read an interesting article, Bob, and it's kind of a paradox. It used an example of radiologists, and it says there's a thinking that the medical profession should stop educating radiologists because AI is going to make those jobs obsolete.
Wow.
But the actual fact of the matter is because AI is so good, it's creating more things that they can do with radiology that you actually need more radiologists to interpret the findings of all the additional stuff that AI can do. And you can take that same argument and apply it to a bunch of different situations. You think about you need coders. You say AI can create coders, but then you need coders to create to oversee what AI has created, and you get that maybe things won't be as bad as we think they are. And if you look at history, America has always adjusted to any technological invention or wave that has come along. So maybe there is hope that it will not be a death knell for a lot of the workers. But there are definitely some jobs that AI is going to eliminate. It's just a matter if the workers will have the skills to be able to do the things created by AI.
Yeah, that AI is going to be a game changer, though. So, and there's so much positives about it, but it's also so much negatives. So on the oil front, crude oil, like you said, it's gone over $100 again. It's $112 a barrel.
Yeah.
That's up there. I don't think it's ever been that high.
Well, gas is pretty high too.
Yeah, that's what reflects. Gold is back up. Gold is back up.
Before you jump into crypto and commodities, but everywhere you look, people are you still seeing layoffs. Oracle had a big layoff, but they wouldn't say how many people. And a lot of restaurants are closing, and even Home Depot came out with a statement that people aren't spending discretionary money. Okay. And there's a lot more do-it-yourselfers. People are doing a lot more repair than replacing. And that doesn't bode well for the economy, that people aren't buying new things. And as I talked about before, the wealth in this country is so shifted toward folks with money. But how many refrigerators do people with money need? How many cars do they need? You buy okay, you might buy more than one car, but you're probably only going to have one refrigerator. And even if you buy two, you aren't going to buy 10. And so eventually that's going to be a negative pull on the market. And that's just what I think. And that's what I'm seeing when you look at the closings, the layoffs. Things look like they're slowing down to me.
And though ironically you say that, because part of that we're going to talk about today on the show, that you're going to find out that people with money, they are the most frugal people. They're not spending money.
A lot of people who got money because they didn't spend money.
Right. You know what I mean? But that's so interesting. But commodities, gold is up though. It's back up. Remember, it went over $5,000. They thought it was headed through 6,000, but it's back up. It's back up to $4,702 an ounce. And silver is really up, man, because silver went down to in the 60s and it's back up to $73. So, Doug, I was listening to this guy about the silver when the silver was over $100 and it's up to I think 121. I think it's never been that high. And then a couple of weeks ago, it crashed down to 60. That was the biggest drop in gold in ever. And they saying, man, they playing games, right? Because a lot of sovereign countries are buying up a lot of gold, right? And they get ready to make restrictions on silver that you can't buy silver because it's becoming scarce. And if you know, silver is almost in everyday semiconductors, your phone, the data centers they building, and they talked about putting a moratorium on silver. But what happened, the price went all the way down. And so a lot of people who was, up, the day before at like $100 and something dollars silver, they all cashed out and the market for silver crashed down, like I said, in the 60s. And what they're saying, but people are getting back in trying to buy all the silver. So all of a sudden, silver is becoming popular, though. So just throwing a little hint out there, you all. I don't know where it's going, but something's going on because the movement is really, really moving. Silver has been moving slow for the last 10 years. I know because I've been tracking it. I have it. Let's talk about cryptocurrency, okay? Cryptocurrency is down 2%, down about $49 billion. That doesn't seem like a lot when you're talking about 2.3 trillion that it's at. And the Bitcoin, the number one coin, is obviously it's for trending with the market. It's down 2%. But that 2% is $1,622 per Bitcoin. It was at 68,556. It is now down to $66,934 a Bitcoin. 2 years ago, Bitcoin was up about 121,000 per Bitcoin. So, as we say, it's speculative. Ethereum, it's up, but it's up less than 1%. So that's why you see the zero there. It's less than one. It's only up 4%. Tether, which is a stable coin pegged to the dollar, and that is holding at 99 cents. Ripple and Binance, XRP, most people know it by, keep flipping with fourth and fifth spot. I don't know why that's so volatile right now, but I know a lot of my friends are into XRP and Binance. XRP, if I'm right, is a XRP. Is that smart contract? That might be a smart contract crypto. Then you got USDC, which is also another stable coin pegged to the dollar, and some of it is pegged to assets. I mean, backed by all other cryptocurrencies are backed by zero, nothing, just consumer sentiment. So that's the cryptocurrency market for you in a nutshell. Let's get into today's show.
Okay, and we kind of touched on it earlier in talking about spending and millionaires, and we're going to talk about some traits that tend to help people save a lot of money, and it's two sides of it. One is saving, and the other is not spending. And we're going to talk about some qualities, and hopefully you'll see yourself in some of these. And some of these will make you laugh. And Bob and I was discussing this earlier, and a lot of these things we did. And some people do it. There's a bunch of different reasons. Some it's just common sense not to waste. Some of them, like Bob and I discussed in both of our situations, a lot of things we did out of necessity because we didn't have money. So you didn't have money to spend, so you found ways to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. And you did a lot of things yourself to keep from spending money. And you had parents who might tell you, we're not eating out because we got food at home. And both my parents were from the South. So for a long time, we didn't eat out, period. That's just not something coming from the South you did. My mother would cook and you ate what was cooked. And so we're going to talk about people who have those traits and who don't spend money, and those habits have created some of the most financially successful people, but at the same time, they never change. And so they accumulate all this money, and they're retirees now, and they're still accumulating, they're still saving, they're still not spending. And that's a balance that we're going to talk about today that you have to manage, right? You get to the point where you've done all the lead work, you've done all the hard work. At some point, you got to say, okay, I'm where I need to be. I can start indulging. I can start enjoying some of the things I've sacrificed in the past. And that's what we're going to talk about, getting to that happy medium where once you've accumulated enough, you can actually enjoy it and you don't continue to live as frugally as you have in the past.
So the name of today's show is Be Frugal, Not Cheap. Here is the difference. Being frugal is the strategic, intentional management of your resources. That's the definition, to maximize your long-term value. Whereas being cheap is plain and simple, one-dimensional, focus on the lowest price, often sacrificing quality and wasting your time trying to chase around and get the cheapest price you can. Now, frugality means investing in quality items that last, while being cheap often results in buying low-quality goods that require frequent and costly replacements. So let's get into today's show, Dope.
Okay, and we'll start with talking about the best savers. And a lot of that group are, again, they're the worst spenders. And it's created a lot of millionaires, and they didn't get there by buying a tech stock or buying, following the latest and greatest investments or making $1 million a year. They got there through discipline, through concentrated saving, and again, not spending. And they do those things like only buying certain things when they're on sale, not eating out, driving cars until they cross a couple 100,000 miles, They typically don't have a lot of interest. They aren't paying a lot of high interest loans. And so they don't carry credit card debt. A lot of times they just operate in cash. And me and Bob talked about we didn't have a car growing up, so we didn't have to worry about driving until it over 200,000 miles. We didn't have a car, period.
Whoa. Say that again. Y'all didn't have a car?
We didn't have a car growing up, no. I think that's why I'm obsessed with cars.
You got to be kidding me, though.
No, we didn't have a car. We never had a car. I bought the first new car. I bought a new car for my father.
How did y'all get around?
We caught the bus. And that's what's crazy too, because I was 9, 10 years old. My mother would pop me on the bus and say, tell me which bus, where to stand to catch the bus. We'd go to the grocery store, Bob. We take the bus to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the checkout line, and she told me to go find George, who was the jitney, and we paid him to take us home. So we never had a car. It was crazy. But it's one of those things. As a kid, you don't know. You think it's normal. I know a few people who had cars, but there was as many people who didn't have cars as they were who had cars. So it never was a big deal. But I think that's why I'm obsessed with cars right now. But back to the point, those people who've done that, who they don't spend, they aren't at Starbucks buying drinks with 19 names in it, and because that $5-10 a day, if you do that over a year and you didn't do that over 30 years, you're talking some serious scratch. But they don't spend money like that. So that group of people have avoided unnecessary spending all their life. And so now they sit on this huge nest egg because of it. But again, they're frugal, I won't say cheap, but they just have a view of money that they will not waste one penny on anything. They will not spend when they don't have to. And that's one of the ways you could create a whole lot of wealth.
Hey, dope.
Yes,
Speaking
sir.
about, like spending and saving and being frugal and being cheap, I've been teaching down at the Charles County Social Services Department, and it's been a wonderful experience dealing with that department, social services. And a guy, good friend of mine who works down there, he said, Bob, do you know if you save $27 a day for a year? It blew my mind, though. $10,000. Actually, it's about $9,855. If you just save $27 a day, you would save $10,000, man. So you're talking about being frugal and just basic, savings, man. It's amazing. So anyway, frugality is also a skill, learned young. Like you said, though, a lot of these I'm getting ready to say, I shamelessly say I still do. But several of the following habits were instilled by my parents and my grandparents, who endured lean times, and that generational memory runs deep because we doing these things that they did, you know, 90 years ago, right? And one of them, dope. You ever did this, dope? Reuse a plastic bag until it split?
Yes, sir.
I no more don't even do that no more. Reusing the plastic. I mean, this is a basic one. Turning old shirts into shop rags, often to give your car oil change. You ever change your own oil, though?
I changed my own oil when I first got a car. And again, I was extremely frugal because of my mother. I thank her for that. And yeah, I would change my own oil because you could pay like $40 or $39 to get your oil changed,
Right,
or you could do it yourself for less than $15 because the filter would be around 12 to $14 and
right.
4 quarts of oil. So yeah, I was doing it myself.
Wow.
For
Yeah, I used to do it too every now and then. How about collecting soda cans or soda bottles to recycle in exchange for a few extra dollars? Man, I remember I used to do that. Now I didn't realize they still have that, man, especially soda bottles.
I did that in Michigan because it was like $10 a bottle if you bought.
What?
Yeah, this
Wow.
was 1999, and I don't
Right,
know if they still do it.
right.
That's, well, I guess it was 98 when I lived in Michigan. But yeah, when I saw that, I started making sure I took my bottles back. Yes, I did.
How about this one though? I do this now, printing on both sides of the page to save money.
No, I
Paper.
don't. I don't do that.
I do.
I hate anything to do with the printer, and I think it's just a money sucker. Now, what I have done, Bob, I've seen printers on sale and bought printers, a new printer, because it was cheaper than buying the ink cartridge. I saw a printer for like $59 that came with ink cartridges and a couple or three ink. I think it was black, tricolor. It was either 2 or 3 ink cartridges. It was cheaper to buy a new printer than buy ink cartridges. So I've done that.
Yeah, I do that. I do that though. I definitely do both sides, man, because it's a waste of paper. Because. But anyway, cut. How about this one though? Cutting out, cutting worn out jeans into shorts. Now they don't even do that no more. I know people don't do that.
I did it as a kid. We did it as a kid.
Who did it? You had a little,
Hey,
fragile.
Bob, did you have the iron-on patches?
Oh, you know that. No question. Yes, I know. How about did you used to iron the pants with the paper bag to put the steaming on it? My mother used to teach me how to do that.
No, I never did that, but I
You
know.
use the paper bag and you iron it, man, and that's how you got the steam. Because now they got steam irons.
Yeah, no, we had the iron on. We got if you fell down and skinned your knee and tore your knee, you just got a patch. Put it
But
on.
what's so interesting though with this generation, with some of these things we're saying, like the cut worn out jeans and the shorts, they pay money now for cut off shorts, or I see Melody have the pants with the knee cut out, and I'm like, y'all paying full price for that? I could have did that for you on some old jeans. But and look, y'all, this isn't about being cheap. It's about refusing to forget what you have. And for this group that do this kind of stuff, frugality is like a badge of honor.
Yeah, and Bob, it becomes a habit, and for me, it's always been a challenge. And I've always thought it's not the big purchases because you're going to take your time and think through those and try to make the best, cheapest decision when it comes to something big. At least I do. Like if it comes to a car, I'm going to research it, make sure I know how much I should pay, make sure I know what the invoice cost is, on and on and on. Same with refrigerators. I'm going to comparison shop, make sure I'm getting the best deal. But it's the everyday things that really add up over time. And a lot of the things that I've done and I still do is because I just don't want to spend money. It's like I had 4 kids, so when we go out to dinner, there's 6 of us. So what nobody ordering no pop or iced tea or no drinks. Now we all want water. She said, "What do you want to drink?" Water's for all of us. I mean, you think about it. That's $3-4 per person. That's $18. 18 to $24 just for sugar water, basically. And so my thought was, one, it ain't good for you, and two, why spend that money? And another thing I still do to this day is I use coupons. I get that entertainment book every year that gets the 2 for 1. I think I've told you guys about the gift card. Morton's and Del Frisco's, Landry's, McCormick and Schmidt's are all part of the Landry group. And so 3 or 4 times a year, they'll sell gift cards. And you buy $100 gift card, they'll give you a $25 gift card. So, and you also get points for buying the gift cards. And so that's what I still do. And I enjoy it more when I'm eating, knowing that it's discounted because everything is so expensive now. But I still do that. Another thing I still do is I take snacks to the airport, and and in Charlotte,
You last to the big spenders, I swear.
hey, I do. I sometimes I'll take a water bottle, sometimes I don't. But it's so funny. I went in to buy a bottle of water, and the lady told me $4.75, and I hold my hands up. She said, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, usually when I get somebody holding you up, they ask you to put your hands up." And she didn't think it was very funny. I thought it was cute. But and I still do that when I travel. I take my lunch. I pack up my own food, so I don't have to stop and pay for food on the road. And part of that is because mostly it's food you get on the road is junk. But yeah, I take my. So I still do that, and I don't think that's being. I don't do that to save money. I do that, I think, because it's healthier for me. When I was working for the longest time, I paid to park downtown, but I paid to park at a cheaper place and then would walk the rest of the way. So I did that for a while. Then I got to admit, later on in my career, I started parking in the building. But that's because I had hip replacements and all that stuff. But
Right.
for the longest time, I would park far away. In Pittsburgh, there was a place called the Wharf, and it was right on the water. You couldn't park down there when it was raining because it would always flood. But I used to do that instead of paying full price for parking. Those are just the things you do when you don't want to spend any more money than you have to. And for the longest time, I cut my own grass. I shoveled my own snow. I didn't wash my cars a whole lot of times. So that's just something I didn't enjoy doing. Some people wash their cars when it's raining just to save water. I'm not that bad. And the other thing I didn't do, one of Clint Eastwood's favorite lines is that a man has to know his limitations. And I am a zero when it comes to fixing things and putting things together. I'm just not good at that. And I used to put toys together, and I'd end up with parts extra, and it wouldn't always look right or be right. I'm good with numbers. I'm not good at fixing things. So I didn't save a whole lot of money doing that. But I would do things like change my oil and some things around the house I would do. But anything major, a lot of people can do a lot of those things for themselves and save a lot of money. I'm just not one of those. And there's got to be some things you guys do. And if you wouldn't mind, put a couple in the comment box of little things that you do to save money that might be unique to you.
Yeah, share them with us, y'all. Put them in the comment box. You know, some saving things, unique little things like Dope just said he do. Put them in the comment box and share them with us. You know, it'll be interesting to see those kind of things, what they like, Dope. So, I'm going to talk about being frugal, but also generous where it counts. Now, they talk about this Midwestern millionaire, right? These people are some of the most richest people, but they are one of the most generous kind of people. And believe it or not, like people like Warren Buffett and what's the guy at Microsoft, though? Bill Gates, which has the Bill Gates Foundation and stuff. They give a bunch of money, man. You would think it'd be the opposite, but it's heartwarming contrast that these individuals are the last people to spend money on themselves, but the first people to spend money on others. And this is what it shows. They usually use Ziploc bags over and over again, at least 20 times. But generously, you know, they'll tip a neighborhood kid to shovel the snow, or they'll stretch leftovers for 3 days, but donate and tithe to the church or the community and, you know, to whatever, you know, they believe in. So frugality isn't selfishness. It also could be stewardship.
Yeah, and this is where it gets interesting. And so after decades of sacrifice, a lot of those frugal people who have been diligent about not wasting money, and if you are, you're probably just as diligent about saving, and you've done that consistently. You just don't waste. And then when you retire, you sometimes have the opposite problem of what most people have. And that's the case where they have more money than they'll ever spend, but they can't bring themselves to enjoy it. And that's where you have to find that balance of being able to enjoy yourself, but at the same token, you don't ever want to just throw money away just because you have it. And so it's you got to find that happy point. There's that old saying, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? And
now I've heard the Brinks truck, but I never heard the U-Haul line.
Yeah, well, you can't take anything with you. And so you can leave money to your kids, but if you're lucky and blessed, your kids are doing okay. They probably won't need it anyway. But you've got to be able to enjoy what you've accumulated, and that's difficult to do. It's difficult for me because, like I said, I still do a lot of savings type things, and I was always diligent about saving, so I was able to accumulate some money, and it's still hard for me to part with it. And I do indulge in something like cars. That's my one indulgence. But a lot of things that people have spent money on, I never did. Never spent money on alcohol, never drank. So that's a huge savings of not drinking, especially going out to like happy hours and all that stuff. Never did that. It never interested me. Never golfed. That's another place where people spend a lot of money. I never did that. Never spent a lot of money on clothes. I'd buy good quality stuff, but never flashy, always very conservative. So you do those things, you get to the point where you've accumulated some money, and you ought to be able to enjoy having done that and kind of take off the reins and be able to do those things that you wouldn't have considered doing 20 years ago. Indulging in those things that you never even considered because you've done all the hard work. You ought to be able to enjoy it and basically enjoy the freedom you work so hard to earn.
And we're not saying, because you real frugal that you have to change your values. That's a whole different thing. But if some of these things that we said today sounds like you, I have good news. We're not telling you to stop being frugal. We're just simply saying you need to understand the difference between saving as a necessity and saving out of habit. I have some friends and friends of friends that tell me how their friends, they so in the habit of saving, but they're not, they got a bunch of assets, but they haven't even been enjoying their life. And that's your personal decision. I'm not trying to, tell you what to do, but sometimes it's you're saving just out of a habit because you've been doing it for so long and not out of necessity, right? So retirement is a new season in a lot of people's life. And, if you're in retirement, you probably already have done the major part, the hard part, planning for it, making sure you have sufficient enough to subsist and enjoy yourself. So most people who thrive in retirement are the ones who finally allow themselves, though, the balcony room on the cruise, not the little matchbox room, but go ahead and get the balcony room. They allow themselves, but not dope, dinner out without a coupon.
I do. I do.
Don't go to dinner without a coupon.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes.
That's a shocker.
Sometimes I do. Most times I don't. It's just too easy to find a coupon. It really is. It's and especially now with a lot of the upscale restaurants, they're struggling because again, people don't have a lot of discretionary money. Companies aren't enjoying spending like they have in the past because everybody's kind of watching their pennies. And so a lot of these upscale restaurants are struggling. And so they offer things. It's like getting the apps. Like I never put my actual birthday in the app, and I strongly recommend you don't do that. But every food company that you give your birthday to gives you something for free, whether it's a piece of cake, Landry gives me a $25 reward. Place we have here called Burton's, they give you a dessert. Everybody gives you something for filling out an app and your birthday. So those kind of things I take advantage of, and I get a little twinkle in my heart when I do it because it feels good to get free stuff. And I always do loyalty plans and keep track of how much I spend and when I earn a reward. And I do that. I enjoy it. It's kind of like a challenge to me. Same with the credit card. You guys know the story there. I always make sure I'm getting money from my credit card. So that's just what I do, and I enjoy it.
Well, that's a good thing. There's people who, don't believe it or not, trying to penny pinch, and they don't turn the air conditioner on before July. That's so interesting.
I'm kind of like that.
Oh, you stop.
I used to fight with my kids. It used to drive me crazy. They would wear shorts and t-shirts, and they want me to turn the heat up. I'm like, no, it's wintertime. Put on some sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and you'll be fine. And I because that's how we were growing up. Because we didn't have money. There's a difference. I did it to accumulate money when I was growing up. We did it because we didn't have no money.
Right.
But I figured it worked when I was growing up. It's gonna work when I'm grown, and the results are it worked for me.
Joe, when we were growing up, we were living in a house that we were renting. People thought we owned it, and it was the oil. Remember the gas oil? The truck come and put the oil
Yeah.
in your house.
Hmm.
And my mother did, she was always, struggling. It was a big house, and she would like just fill the tank halfway up or something like that. My sisters know what I'm talking about, and we were, we were organized and disciplined on how we used that heat in that house. You know what I'm saying? Because we only had but so much oil, but we always had heat. That's what my thing I give to Mama eat. We always have heat. Maybe one time I went out, but I can't remember. My sisters might can remember a time. I don't know. But though one other thing is, people, that's planned, and I'm like this too, though. Hiring helpful projects I no longer enjoy. I do not cut my grass.
No.
I do not cut my grass. I have a big yard. I'm a third of an acre. I'm not trying to cut no grass no more. And I don't clean my own gutters out no more. I ain't getting no ladders. That's not good. Ladders, no more ladders.
Yeah,
But
that's more of an age thing now. We don't need to be on ladders.
hell, no lie. But and remember these things that we do because we planned our retirement and we planned it. We put in the work, and it's we do these things not because we've abandoned our values. That's my point. Is you don't have to get rid of your values, but because we understand that we've earned the right to enjoy the fruits of our lifetime discipline.
Yeah, but I gotta admit, I didn't. I never knew I would be in this position. I never knew
Agreed.
I
Same
would have
here. Yep.
what I have because all I thought was I got 4 kids. I got to get through college, and I know it's crazy expensive, and so I never thought I'd be in this position. I feel blessed to be here, but I still those habits are hard to let go when you've done them all your life, and I'm trying to get myself to the point where I I I don't worry as much about little things as I used to. Okay, and that's taking some time and some effort. It really has.
Now that's funny, man. Rodney said, "I have a wife that goes through variable heat changes, so I have no choice in turning on and off the AC." I feel you on that one, bro. I went through that with my wonderful wife. Good Lord, have mercy. That menopause is something. Um, so, dope.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the takeaways for the day of be frugal and not cheap.
Yeah, I'll start, Bob.
Cool.
You got it working?
Yep.
I
Got it
don't think
working.
it's frozen up at all today. That's a good thing.
I haven't.
I haven't noticed it.
Okay, good. Yeah, we good.
And the first thing we've told you this before, and you got to make saving a habit. That's got to be how you approach money you have coming in. You've got to pay yourself first. You got to put money away for emergencies. You got to put money away for your retirement. If you're looking to buy a home, to get that first down payment or to pay for college, there's a bunch of reasons to save. And it's much easier if you do that first and then handle everything else around what's left as opposed to trying to squeeze some savings out of what's left. And we've drilled numerous times to you the benefits of compounding. So the earlier you start, the better you're going to be. And the thing to do once we figure it out, because I didn't know it when I first first started getting money. And it's crazy. When the first money I started getting was when I was in college, and because my pop was disabled, retired, I got a Social Security check, and it was I don't know like $375 a month. Since my college was already paid for, so I didn't need money for that. So instead of putting it away and saving it, I bought a car. I'm tired of having a car. So I'm a sophomore in college, and they didn't pay me for the first year, so I got one big check for the first year's worth. So when I got home after my freshman year, I had the big check. So I went out and bought a car and used that Social Security check for the monthly payment. Now, had I been smart, I didn't need a car. I'm in college. What do I need a car for? I didn't need a car, but I bought one. So had I started then, just think what that would be worth today. But so you want to start as early as you can. And if you have kids, get them started early with saving. The sooner they can start saving, the better. And if you can teach the ones coming up how important it is, and why starting early is important, they'll be much better off in the long term.
That is so true. Be intentional with your spending. What does that mean? Before you go to spend, think about, do I really need this? Do I really need to spend this money on that? Why am I spending my money on? That's what intentional spending means, and have a spending plan. And we know what that is, right? Nothing but a budget. You got to have a system and a process, you all, but be intentional with your spending.
Yeah, enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you work real hard, you put money away, stay within the guidelines. Obviously, you don't want to just start spending like a drunken sailor, but you don't want to continue to deprive yourself of things that you've worked hard to earn. So enjoy, if you made the sacrifices and got where you want to be, enjoy being there.
Though this could be like one of Big Bob's quotes, but this is not the one for today. The last one is, it's better to be rich than to look rich. And I think that's self-explanatory. I know a lot of people, flaunting, what they say, keeping up with the Joneses, faking the funk. I know a lot of people that still do that, driving the big cars and wearing the fancy clothes and going on the fancy trips, but it's in serious debt.
And Bob, when I found out that the Louis Vuittons and Gucci's, they don't advertise to rich people. Their target market is poor folks. That's who they're targeting with their advertising. And you think about that, because it usually is poor folks who want to look rich, who want to appear to be rich, as opposed to rich. They don't market to rich people. And so you understand that you don't get caught up in somebody else's marketing scheme. You don't buy because a commercial or somebody tells you that's important. You stay within your own plan, set your own goals, decide how to spend your money, how to use your money, and stop worrying about impressing people and build your wealth.
So true, though. And we must consider that. Do not let your wants outdo your needs. Oh, okay, Joanne. Thank you for that. She said, don't let your wants outdo your needs. That's a good one. Appreciate that, Joanne. And look, no one put any tips. Anybody got any tips on how to save money, how to be frugal, how to, just be frugal. You just got time to put it in there.
Yeah, but about eating out is crazy too, because it's so expensive now. And I just decided I'm not buying wings out anymore, because the wings I make at home are just as good as any wings.
Oh, you using that?
I use Charlie King's Jamaican rub.
And you putting them in that, what that thing called?
Air fryer.
Yeah, you put them in the air fryer.
A lot of times I just broil them, and they come out better and they're not fried, so they're better for you. But
they're better for you, no question.
They're like $2 a wing now, man. Everything is crazy expensive.
Joanne's tip was stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay in your lane and eat your own sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
So
Did you eat out at lunch when you work, or did you
yes,
lunch?
I definitely ate out at lunch
Yeah.
because especially being in Virginia, there were so many places out there in Arlington, Virginia, man. But when I was downtown DC,
Wow. Where's
same
that
thing.
place? You took me to one place. It was like a little Colombian joint. They had the best chicken. That chicken was so good. Wait,
Oh yeah. Oh, there was I forgot the Puerto Ricos or
in your
something.
office. It wasn't far from your office.
Yeah. It's right across the kind of across the
It's
street.
like around the corner. Yeah,
Right,
we
right.
drove.
Puerto Rico is what it was called.
Oh
Man,
man, that
boy, you
that
make me hungry now. You make
that
me.
that place in Nando's. I used to love Nando's.
Oh, don't. Oh, they changed Nando's to Nando's. I'm telling you, we went to that mall so many daggone times. We went to it in London, didn't we?
Hey, the food in London sucks.
Garnett said the FDIC cafeteria. No, we ain't talking about. We talking about Puerto Rico's across the street, around the corner. But FDIC cafeteria, right, Garnett? I mean, we had the best cafeteria, though. I mean, it was top notch.
It was cheap.
Yes, because it was subsidized by the FDIC.
You can spend a lot of money eating out for lunch.
Yeah, no,
Every
especially now. Yeah, especially now, man. So I'd like to thank everybody who was on today. My two sisters, Linda and Gloria, are on today. I don't know where Nolia is, but I trust she's doing well. We send her good tidings. The wonderful now Dodie, the Nisi Dodie. What's up, niece? Joanne Skinner, Garnett. What's up, Garnett? Rodney Madison. I want to give y'all something for this is Rodney. If you want to check out Rodney, go out there on Rodney Madison at thenoteexperience.com. That's his email. Talk to him about if you want to learn more about mortgage notes and holding mortgage notes, another alternative investment, check out Rodney Madison. And his website is, the website is, thenoteexperience.com. What? The cafeteria is shut down, Rodney, now due to some type of mechanical issue. Man, they trying to save money if that's what they see. You need to be ashamed of themselves. Okay, Garnett says, happy Holy Week. Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. I thought every week was Holy Week, but okay. Happy Easter to everyone. Thank you very much for that. And we really appreciate that. And thanks for everybody for being on. We're here. Next week will be this was our 235th show. I'm so thankful for everybody being on, as we always say. And dope, my Big Bob quote of the week is, a false friend in a shadow attends only while when the sun is shining.
Okay, wait a minute. I missed that.
A false friend in the shadow only attends while the sun is shining.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Took you a while today, though. I know I stumbled.
Look, I'm getting older, man. Older and older. I'm slow.
Well, everyone, thank you for being on. We look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, tell your friends, your family, your co-workers, come on the FiTT Show, FiTT, every Thursday at 8 p.m. See you next week, everybody. Have a great, great week.